Hi everyone, my name is Christy and welcome to my Trying a New Makeup Product Everyday series. Today I'm trying out the eye primer from the Beauty Crop, the Stuck On You eyeshadow primer. So I actually redeemed ipsy points to get this last month and I'm really excited. Look at how cute this packaging is. It's cruelty free and vegan, and I love eyeshadow primers. I definitely need them. I have a lot of creases in my eyelids. I don't really deal with the color fading. Well, I guess it depends on the eyeshadow. If it's a really bad eyeshadow, that will probably happen. But I don't really have oily eyelids, so that's not one of my usual concerns, but it's just the creasing, and I hate the look of creased eyeshadow on me. But eyeshadow primer is seriously like a game changer. If you have creases in your eyelids, if eyeshadow does tend to fade on you, if you do have oily eyelids, and this sounds like a really great one, so I'm really excited to see how it is. I also like that it's in the little tub here. All of the other eyeshadow primers that I've tried before, I think, have like a little doe foot that you brush on and then you have to like blend it in still. So either way, I'm still using my finger to apply it. So using a little tub like this makes sense. So this actually is the full size. It retails for $16.50. Although I will say the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion that I use is not a huge eyeshadow primer, and I think that costs like $24. So in my experience, I mean, of course I love an inexpensive like Shop Miss A eyeshadow primer, but I do typically tend to spend the money on an eyeshadow primer because it can make such a big difference, especially with eyeshadows such as the one that I'm going to be trying out today, which is the eyeshadow palette that I try out all of my eyeshadow primers with, because it is so crazy the difference. The Tartist Pro palette, this palette has basically no pigment when I apply it to my eye without primer. It's crazy. But then if I use a good primer, it can look bold, pigmented. It's really amazing. But so first, let's put on some primer. So here is what it looks like. I think it looks like it has a little tint to it. Yeah, I actually do like when there is a little white, off-white tint to an eyeshadow primer, because I do typically set my lids with a white or like a cream colored eyeshadow to kind of cancel out discoloration. But if the eyeshadow primer, yeah, you can see, if it already has that kind of pigmented, cancels out discoloration, evens out the skin tone type of effect, I can skip that step. And yes, this is definitely doing it. This is what my eyelid would look like if I had applied like a transparent primer and then an eyeshadow on top. So I'm just going in with a little bit more. It says you don't need a lot, and I do feel like a little goes a long way. I'm just going to bring it all the way from the lash line up to the lid. Ooh, I like that. So you can see with it versus without it, even if I wasn't wearing any eyeshadows, I just like the look of how it evened out the skin tone, covered up, you know, like the veins, the discoloration. So that is just a really nice throw on, quick, easy little eyelid cover up effect. And it doesn't feel like anything on the lid. And it really didn't leave like a tacky feel necessarily either. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything too intense with this as far as eyeshadow looks go. I'm just going to try out a couple shades. So leaving this eye without the primer so that we can really compare. So why don't I start out with a little crease shade. I'm just going to take like this brown color here. And first I'm going to apply it to the eye without the primer, just so it's a clean brush. Ooh, I think I may have chosen too dark of a shade for the crease. I said I wasn't doing anything too intense, but this is going to be a bit of an intense eyeshadow look. I should have gone in with the transition shade first, but you know, we are just reviewing the primer, not my eyeshadow look. This is funny. Okay, that shade actually showed up pretty good without the primer. So let's see how it looks with the primer. I mean, right away what I am noticing is that it's easier to blend out. I wanted to diffuse this color, and I kind of was able to, but this side is just so much more blendable. Wow. And it looks so much smoother compared to this eye versus this eye. So in this case, I mean, both shades are pigmented, but this one looks so much better, and I feel like I even blended that one out faster. Wow. Let's go on the lid because that's where you can see more pigment payoff. So I'm just going to take like a flat brush. I'm going to pick up this purple shade because this one's pretty. And okay, see, I actually thought I picked up a lot on my brush here. And you see how it's just like not even showing up, not even sticking onto the lid. So strange, because look at the color in the pan, and then on my eyelid it's like a completely sheer, no pigmented shade. And then I'm going to pick that up again, and let's see on the eye with the primer. I mean, it's definitely not that great, but it shows up more. I'm not seeing as much pigment from this as I would have wanted as far as eyeshadow primers go, because I've used this palette with other eyeshadow primers where it is a huge dramatic difference, where it can go from like sheer to like opaque color. And this one is still showing up really sheer. It's definitely an improvement. Like you can see, this is the eye with the primer versus without it, but it's still not very opaque or impressive as far as pigment. It definitely looks smooth, no creasing on the eye with the primer. Versus without it, you know, we're definitely seeing a lot more lines, texture, unevenness, but definitely not as much pigment as I was expecting and hoping. Like the more I'm just looking at my eyes, there's not much of a difference. And there should be a huge difference. If you've seen me try this palette out with other eyeshadow primers, you know what I'm talking about. Wow, I am bummed and surprised. I really thought that this eyeshadow primer was going to make these eyeshadows pop, but I really can't say that it does much. I feel like if this was the first eyeshadow primer you ever tried out, you'd be like, what's the point of eyeshadow primers? They make no difference. But trust me, eyeshadow primers can make a difference. Maybe it's because, like I said before, this doesn't actually have much tackiness to it, that it didn't help make the eyeshadow stick on. But yeah, I guess I have to kind of consider this a fail, because clearly there's no real improvement in how the eyeshadows look with versus without it. But I'm very curious to hear in the comments down below if you've tried this out, if you've had success with it, if you have any tips for using it, or if you have any other favorite eyeshadow primers that you would recommend. Let me know in the comments down below. But thank you so much for watching my video today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you can see the makeup that I try every day, and I will see you tomorrow in my next video.